Today we'll be focusing on how to find the factors of quadratic expression. Right. Now the main reason why I started with this video is because I teach math, right? And I know most of the guys struggle to find the factors of quadratic expression, a trinomial quadratic expression, right? So what I want to do is make a video instead of watching a 2-hour, 3-hour recording just to find out how to find the factors. This is just a 5-minute video, maybe less, I don't know, right? Maybe less. We're gonna find a tutorial on how to find the factors of a quadratic expression. Just in case you're wondering, am I wearing a sarong? Yes, I'm at home, I need to be comfortable, I'm doing a video just for you guys, right? Let's go. Okay, now the first thing, when you get an equation, you have to find out whether this equation is a trinomial quadratic expression, right? So the word trinomial quadratic expression, we'll break it down. Trinomial, 3 terms. Quadratic means the unknown term, right? The unknown term has a square, right? Expression means when there's a equation, not an equation, right? When an expression, that means you have addition, multiplication, more than one mathematical calculation is involved in the algebraic expression, right? I literally use the word expression many times, but I hope you get what's the idea. There's algebraic terms and expressions, right? Okay, so what do you do to find the factors of a trinomial quadratic expression? Okay, so when you take a trinomial quadratic expression, right, to find the factors of a trinomial quadratic expression, the middle term, you have 3 terms. I told you have 3 terms. The middle term, you break it down into 2, right? You don't you separate it into 2 terms so that you get 4 terms. We are aiming for 4 terms, right? So then these are the rules you have to follow when you are finding the factors, right? Or when you are breaking the middle term into 2, right? Now if you are breaking, obviously when you break the term, the addition should be equal to the middle term, and one more extra rule you have to remember, that is when you multiply these 2 terms, which are the broken down terms, when you multiply them, it should be equal to the multiplication of the first and the last term, right? Those are the 2 main things you have to remember. So when you multiply first and the last term, you have 6x squared, right? So now we said, okay, we have 2 terms here. When you multiply them, you have to get 6x squared, right? Now 2 things here. One, what are the numbers, or what are the 2 numbers that we multiply and get 6x squared? Then the next thing comes, what are the signs that we are going to use for those 2 terms, right? So now when we look at the numbers, get all the possibilities where when you multiply 2 numbers, you get 6x squared, okay? So we can always start with the smallest number. These are very important advice that I give you, because later on when you do questions, you will understand them better. You will know why I said this, okay? Right. So we're going to start with 1 here, right? So 1x into 6x, right? You can clearly see 1 into 6 will give you 6, x into x, that will give you x squared, right? Now we see whether we can do with 2, right? So 2 into what will give you 6? So 2 into 3, clearly, right? So 2 into 3x, okay? Right, now you know 3x into 2x again will give you 6, but it's a repetition. We don't need repetitions, right? So we're gonna erase it off, right? So after erasing it off, right, we have 2 options now. 1x into 6x and 2x into 3x, right? Now numbers are fine. We are done with the numbers. Now the only thing you're going to figure out, what is the sign, right? Now think carefully. When you're multiplying 2 terms, you're getting a positive sign here. So that means there are 2 options. Either both the terms are positive, multiplying, you get positive, or both the terms are negative. So you have 2 options. Either both are positive or both are negative, right? So those are the 2 options that you have, right? Now to confirm what is the correct sign, we go back to this addition here, right? So what do? You take both of them and check which sign will give you 6x. For example, let's choose positive here, right? So if you put positive for both of the terms here, so 1 plus 6, right? Now if you put 1 here and 6 here, 1 plus 6 will give you 7, not 5, right? Now we'll try this one. 2 plus 3, right? 2 plus 3 will give you 5. Just to show you the negative doesn't work, we'll try putting negative, right? So we're gonna erase this. and we're going to put negative here. Okay. Okay, so we are going to put a negative sign here. Alright, so minus and minus. Remember folks, right? Now you guys always confuse this. When we are adding minus, addition here. So if you put minus 1 and minus 6, right? Don't think you'll get what? Addition, right? Don't think you get a positive sign. Why is that? You guys always confuse minus and minus. When you add, you're getting positive. No, that's multiplication. Minus into minus is plus. But when you're adding two negatives, what do you have to remember, right? When you have a negative, when you're adding more negativeness, what will happen to the negativeness? It will increase. Remember that always, in case you get confused, right? So negative and negative, you bring them, you add them, remember. So 1 and 6, that is 7, the negativeness is increasing, so your answer is minus 7. You don't have a minus 7 there, so then negative doesn't work. We'll try minus here. Minus 2, minus 3, that is minus 5. What we have there is a plus 5, so negative doesn't work. So your answer, those are the two terms, that is positive 2 and positive 3, right? Positive 2 and positive 3. Okay, now what do? You have broken down x squared. Now that 5x you have broken down to plus 2x plus 3x plus 6. Okay, now from here it's pretty simple, right? What do? You find the common factor between the first two terms and the last two terms, right? So first two terms, find the common factor. You can clearly see x squared and x is common between them, and then you find the other factor. You open the bracket there. X into what? What do you multiply with x to get x squared? That is x there. Plus x into 2 will get you 2x. Okay? Do the same thing here. You can see the common term is 2 here. Then again you get, what do you get? Sorry, the common term is 3. My bad. Right? So 3 into x plus 3 into what will give you 6? 3 into 2. Right? Now you can see here x plus 2 is common. We take the common term out and then we put the other factor in, that is x plus 3. Right, there you go guys. That's how you factorize a trinomial quadratic expression. I'll just go through it very fast, the steps. Right, so what you have to remember, first thing, identify it's a trinomial quadratic expression. You identify, right, 3 terms, a square and the unknown term. Perfect, that's a trinomial quadratic expression. Next thing, you divide the middle term into 2. Separate the middle term into 2. In order to do that, you know, when you separate, the addition gives you the middle term, right? When you multiply these two terms, that is a multiplication of the first and the last term. That's right. Then you find the two numbers. What are the two numbers that you multiply to get 6x squared? You found out that is 1 and 6 and 2 and 3. The last thing that you do, find the sign. What sign? Right? When you multiply two terms, if it's positive here, that means either both are positive or both are negative. Then you put the positive and negative sign, then you add them, check which number gives you 5x. Finally, when you separate them, take the factors of first two and the last two terms, and finally, there you go, you got the factors of a trinomial quadratic expression, right? So for more videos guys, follow the channel, right? Subscribe it, like it, give us a thumbs up, and hope to see you guys in another video. Take care, bye bye.